So as you see, we measure stuff that a lot of others assessment, they completely ignore, because we come from an angle that is the behavioral engineering. We measure the focus because it gives you the capacity to supervise AI, technical practice because it gives you the method to validate what AI produced. Then we measure the product health because it ensures that you are building the right thing. Then finally, we also measure when you have shipped the right things on the market, how the customers are reacting to what you have. And in this way, we have all the software lifecycle measured in 4 macro clusters. If you miss one dimension, the others, they will compensate as much as they can. But if you miss 2, you start to have long-term problems. If you miss 3, or even worse, 4, then you fail. Despite all the millions you are putting in the AI tools, AI will simply be an accelerator, an expensive accelerator for your failure. What we do is we score each of these dimensions, and after we have provided you the score of this dimension, what we find and discuss with you is the gap between how much you have invested and accelerated, how much you are able to handle this accelerator. The gap in the middle is the number that will tell us what will happen to your AI acceleration. And how it works is pretty simple. The gap can tell us how good you are using AI. And what I mean is the gap between how you are feeling productive and you are being productive. How you believe you are moving to how much value you are really delivering. And every point of this gap is a leverage for a gigantic disaster that will happen soon. A lot of organizations, they get shocked of the speed of failure when they embrace AI. And the more wider is the gap, the faster you will fail. And what is providing you a AI readiness assessment is the awareness about how in danger you are using this new technology. With what we have developed as an assessment, what we do is not only providing you a number, we are categorizing you in 3 clusters. The first cluster is the cluster of the chaos. That is the cluster where you have a gap so wide that you have immediately to pause, if not even stopping, every AI expansion. For some customers, we have even to shut down the AI adoption until we strategically have fixed their upskilling program to properly settle the foundation of their fundamentals, all of them. So we bring the developers to the software craftsmanship dojo, yes, but we work also with the leaders, with the product owners, with all the agilists that they have in their company, because they are so dysfunctional that we need to bring them to a point of cooperation that is enough to restart slowly to use AI where it makes sense after that we have reevaluated the organization. Next is the cluster of the organization in plateau, where typically there is a narrow gap between the adoption and the ability. And there, typically, we suggest a selective expansion, using AI where the fundamentals are strong, but perhaps reducing in the sectors where they are not that strong. And again, bringing them to an upskilling program like a dojo to work with them to fix the fundamentals. Because without foundations, you cannot expand anymore. The third and last cluster is the amplification. It's a cluster where the adoption and the ability start to have the overlap, or even the ability is exceeding the adoption. This is the moment where we suggest to scale AI so that you can leap to the spec-driven development way of working.